Hi, I'm Bryanna Phillips, and I am doing the summary on the article about Tupac Shakur entitled Tupac, Panther Shadow, the political targeting of Tupac Shakur. And this article talks about the popularized Tupac Shakur as a hip-hop artist, multi-million-dollar platinum-selling recording artist, as well as film star, starring in 6 different films. And it also talks about his connections in his family life. His mom being Afeni Shakur, his stepfather being Matulu Shakur, and his godfather being Geronimo Pratt. And his amazing connections to this strong political ideology that we've learned about in class. The article goes on to talk about his death. He died at a very young age, 25, in September of 1996. At a Las Vegas stoplight. It goes on to talk about COINTELPRO and the connections that he had to that, starting at a very young age, just because of who he was associated with as far as his mother and father and godfather. The police actually had a file starting on him when he was in elementary school and would go in and question him because his stepfather, Matulu Shakur, was deemed he was under surveillance in connection with the prison break for Assata Shakur. It goes on through his life, his connections in music and film, the lives of those associated with him, and his overall legacy as a person, and his ideologies and how his upbringing around the Black Panther Party influenced his rap career, his political views, his views of self, and so we will be talking about the articles from week 7, which are called COINTELPRO, The Naked Truth, COINTELPRO Papers, A Brief History of Black Panther Party, and then of course the articles from week 11 called To Fight for a People, Black Panther Party and Political Ideologies of the 1990s, and an updated history of the new African prison struggle. And so next we will have Lorraine speak.
Hi. So I'm going to try to answer the questions on what are the concrete connections to the Black Panthers. So Tupac, obviously what Bryanna had mentioned earlier, was his mother Afeni Shakur, stepfather, and his aunts. They were all associated with the BPP, so there's that connection there. And the other question here, anyway, apologize because I lost my mind. So with his family, according to Lorraine, he says that there are many committed and skilled leaders, elected and otherwise, in the Black community. And so since Tupac is the heir of this throne of the BPP members, that he's one of those skilled individuals. So, and then it goes on with another question here is about the similarities between the organization and their work. So what Tupac did is that he spoke out at activist rallies. He joined organizations, participated in programs for the youth, and for Stop the Violence, among an array of other things. And so that even though that his music, he was an entrepreneur in pop music, and that his music portrayed violence, like I said, he made that money. And so his money was going back into the community, and he wanted to start programs. He started a program called Thug Life Movement to help drug dealers turn over a new leaf. He wanted to have the West and East Coast get together so they can obtain power for the Black America. And he also, what else did he do? He gave donations, especially to his mother's organization that what's that organization? They had something to do. Yeah, we're going to get that. So then it's so just as Jay James stated, in the 3 years after J. Edgar Hoover's infamous COINTELPRO memorandum, 31 members of the BPP were killed, nearly 1,000 were arrested, and key leaders were sent to jail. Obviously, that didn't stop there because Tupac was murdered at the age 25. Wonder.
Next is.
Oh, the next is going to be Ben.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ben. We're here in this tiny interrogation chamber. What'd you do with mine?
Oh, sorry.
All right, so I'll answer a couple of questions here. The first one is, what are the differences between this article and the Black Panther Party? So I would say one of the main differences is the cultural differences between the eras that they happen. That's so funny. So the Black Panthers were coming out of the 60s and the 70s and sort of barely into the 80s. And they were they were part of a very revolutionary era. And Tupac in the 90s, I would say, was more part of a pop culture oriented era. And so I would say that one of the main differences is the culture in which each of them were operating in. And let's see, the other question is, what has changed in the political climate from when the Black Panther Party existed? Well, I think, like Dr. Pastor Haynes said, the party gave people a reason to come together, and when it ended, that's when he said a lot of gang action started. That's when he said the Bloods and the Crips formed. So I would say that's a big difference in the political climate. And as far as relating it to other articles goes, the way that COINTELPRO operated with Tupac was very similar. Like it says in The Naked Truth from week 7, one of their main methods of harassment was infiltration. Like, for example, I'll read this small section from our article. It was Suge Knight who was driving the car in Las Vegas the night of Tupac's murder. Kidada Jones, Tupac's fiancée, reported that Tupac wanted to drive his own car that night, but Knight convinced the rapper to ride with him in an open-windowed BMW. According to an ex-bodyguard of Knight's, the murder scene was aberrant because there were no armed bodyguards in Knight's car, nor in the accompanying car behind them. So I'd say that's a pretty solid connection. And what was my other connection? And the way he was targeted too. He was, he had Panther ties to his mom and his stepdad. And he had a huge following and a huge amount of wealth, and was part of the hip-hop culture. And one of the habitual bureau pretenses for COINTELPRO was violence-prone and or making efforts to perpetuate violence. So I would say that put a huge target on his back. And assuming we're at 9 or 10 minutes, and that was a decent monologue, that's it for me.
Okay.